Officially, Bill Bishop is the head golf professional at Freeway. But to almost everyone he comes into contact with, he's just Bill, or Mr. Bishop. And most importantly, a good guy. Bill, I've embarrassed you before, so I'll embarrass you again. Of all the many great things people say about you, the one you hear most often is that Bill Bishop is such a nice man. How important is it to you to be considered a nice person?
Well, I can only say that once. When you treat people nice, you expect to be treated likewise. And I've been fortunate to a certain extent to have that kind of relationship with quite a few of my competitors and so forth and so on. And even at 9, I started out playing golf at Cobb Creek Golf Course. I was about 16 years of age when I really took in it, got involved in it. So from there on, it's from there it hit the story of my life. I played many rounds of golf at Cobb Creek, and I developed from a 10 handicap up until a 0 handicap. And the rest, as anybody would say, is history. I was invited to a lot of tournaments and the pro-ams and so forth and so on. Some of the guys I had grown up with playing on PGA stuff there, they liked me because some didn't like me.
I can't imagine people who didn't like Bill Bishop, but I have to ask you this. The game of golf, and you teach it to young people, one of the reasons we're with you today. The game of golf is one in which persistence is so important. You have to persist and persist. When there were obstacles you faced, either as a golfer or just as a person, based upon the fact that you were African American, how did you persist through that? How did you keep persisting despite the injustice?
Well, what I did is this, I took a lot. But when I find a person by himself, then I tell them, look, you got away with one. But if you ever say that when I'm by myself and you're by yourself out here, you're going to wind up with whatever I have on my hand on you. So I more or less I made them respect me in that respect. It was a little threat, but I was outnumbered. But anyway, lucky for me that they accepted it and they went on, and quite a few of them invited me to their own club, Pro and Am. There's a lot of malice involved in the golf. People pretend that they like you and so forth, and yet they don't. Well, you find that when you got different magnitude of people you're dealing with. But I managed to weather the storm, and I'm still here. And I wish I could even do more, but my youth program is one of the programs that I really, for 42 years, I've been on the scene when it's being held.
All the time you've been running the youth programs, and I've seen it so many times over the years, you have stressed to the young people that they are going to learn about golf, but you're also teaching about life. Life lessons are important to you.
So we always stress one thing about that. You know, we stress it. I always feel the kid, we're doing this program basically keeps the kid busy off the street and off the corner, and so it's something they can learn and they can enjoy the fruit of it later on in life. That was our biggest goal that we was trying to see.
And I've seen the pride you have in seeing some of the young people who have come through your program and grown up to be great people. And that to me is really the mark of what you've accomplished, Bill.
Well, I'm very proud to be able to do that. With the help of people that I went out and begged money for the program, that was good. And I did that for 42 years. And of course now things getting a little tougher now, for the reason that a lot of the big corporations now are sponsoring tournament. And just like a lot of the banks around in my area, the guys that they're president, they're player, their workers played with me, and they felt like they were obligated to help me with my program, which was very, very much appreciated.
Bill, if you had one recollection of when you had all these kids over all these years, was there one recollection you would have of when that light bulb goes off for a kid or kids, when they really get what you're teaching them about staying out of the rough, if you will, in life?
Well, we've been very fortunate to develop some kids, at least about a dozen kids. Once they leave here and they go down to Florida, and then they don't want to come back. And even right now, it's hard for an African American to get a sponsor. And I'm not bringing that on it just so happened that I think that Will Smith had a young man, he was trying to get on there. And there's a couple more that African American could have sponsored, and they didn't. And they did it for a short period of time, and then they stopped.
We were just talking about the history of this golf course. We often talk about the need for economic empowerment. As an African American who grew up in the 20th century with all the good and all the bad and all the in-between, how gratifying has it been to have a group of African Americans who have owned a golf course? What has that meant to you and to them?
Well, Don, that's been a great to me, and I'm very proud to play that part of it. More so that you see me here now. I'm here because of the fact that the first 18-hole African American golf course have some problems, and we're trying to deal with them. It's like trying to deal with them. Like the past 2 years have been pretty rough years for golf in this area in general. Like I tell the golfer, you can't play a golf course every weekend, and you got to pay. He's spending roughly $75 or $100 for an outing, and then you got a family to take care of too. So it's pretty rough.
But you, as you always do, you will persevere. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. Coming up on Tolly's Awesome Friends, it's the magical golf bag that has spread so much goodwill thanks to Mr. Bill Bishop.